Happy Friday! Welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. My name is Emma and today I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up. Because it's now getting really cozy and Christmassy, I thought I would make a special drink to drink while I go through all the books. So I'm going to make a Southern Comfort hot toddy. I sort of pieced this together from a few different cocktail recipes. I already had Southern Comfort, so I thought I should use that. So the recipe is pretty simple. You start with what it calls a few glugs of Southern Comfort. I don't know if that is a technical term. I don't know exactly how much that means, so we're gonna guess. Do you think that's a few glugs? I don't want to make it too strong anyway. I haven't even had lunch yet. Okay, next I'm going to squeeze in half an orange. Oh, I squeezed it on myself instead. Oh. So much of it is just going in my face. Is that good enough? Does that count as having squeezed that out? I don't really know. Okay, next going to top it up with boiling hot water. And then finally stir in a big spoon of honey. How big is big? Oh, look at that pouring in. Oh. That was just pure honey. That's quite sweet. And finally, just to make it extra adorable, my mug has a little lid. Oh, some honey dripping down the sides. I don't know why I keep licking pure honey. It's not nice. So, that is how you make a Southern Comfort hot toddy. I will take a sip in a second and tell you if it's any good, or if you should just not make it. Now my fingers are all sticky. Oh, that's good. It's got quite a kick to it. I might have put too much Southern Comfort in. Or it might be the orange. I don't know. It's something sharp in there, but it's nice. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about everything that I read in November. The first book I read in November was a book that I had been looking forward to for so long before it came out. Then when it came out, it took me a while to get it, and then even once I got it, it took me a while to read it, which was ridiculous because I was so excited. But I finally read it this month, and that is Where Am I Now by Mara Wilson. And oh my god, this book was everything that I wanted it to be. It was so much fun. As somebody who adored Miracle on 34th Street, Matilda, and Mrs. Doubtfire, it was so much fun hearing some of the behind-the-scenes stories and hearing about what the actors were like behind the scenes. That was all just really good fun. But it did also go so much beyond that. In this book is a heartbreakingly honest description of what it is like to grow up with childhood fame. Mara Wilson talks about going through all of the insecurities that teenagers, particularly teenage girls, often do go through, but going through them played out in front of the world, and going through them when you're supposed to be playing these cute child characters. So going through puberty, your producers are telling you that they don't want to see your body change like that. I mean, it just sounds like the most confusing thing to go through. So there are a lot of sad bits, and throughout her childhood some really sad things did happen, and those bits were really moving, but it was also heartwarming and really funny. Mara Wilson is a really funny writer. I just adored it. It was everything that I hoped it was going to be. And as you know, if you've watched a few of my videos, I have been talking about this book for a while. I'm not convinced that I want to be drinking this. It tastes a little bit like the cold medicine that I've been taking. Then I read one of my required books for uni, which was The Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood. I actually read this one in the first year of my undergrad as well, which was 6 years ago by now. Shit. And I loved it then, and I read it again, and I liked it even more than I remembered. It's a retelling of the Odyssey from Penelope's point of view, and also from the point of view of the 12 maids who are hung when Odysseus comes back at the end of the Odyssey. I've never read the Odyssey, but I am very familiar with the stories from it. So hearing those stories that used to be kind of my bedtime stories when I was younger, from this totally different perspective, really cast them into a new light. So really enjoyed this one. This is a big recommend from me. Another one we had to read for class was The Albertine Workout by Carson, and I really struggled with this one. It's basically Carson working through her theories on Proust, or Proust, I don't know how to pronounce his name's novel, In Search of Lost Time, which I've never read. And this is like very high theory, and kind of a lot of it went over my head. And I like her style of writing. It did make me wish that I'd read the book because I was interested in what she was saying about it. But overall, I don't have much to say about this book because so much of it just like whizzed straight over my head. Then I took a break from uni reading to read The Blue Door by Lise Kristensen. And I've done a video about this because this came in the book buddy box, so I will link below to the whole video that I did talking about this. But essentially it's a true story written by a woman who, when she was a young girl, was kept in a prisoner of war camp on the island of Java, and it's very hard to read and very sad, but I do recommend it. I've never studied that particular area of history before, so it was amazing to read this because I had no idea this was going on. And the Book Buddy box is a really, really fun subscription box which basically makes you feel like you're reading as part of a book club, so go and watch my video if you're interested in that. Okay, and then I went back into the last set of required books for uni. The first one was The Colour Purple by Alice Walker, which I have read before and I just love it so much. I love it so much. If you haven't read it, read it. The first time I read this was last year and my friend lent it to me, telling me that it was a really happy book, And I opened it and was like, what are you talking about? It starts so bleak and there's a lot of really horrible stuff happening at the beginning of this book. But as it goes on, it does become so heartwarming and wonderful, and it's basically the embodiment of Alice Walker's term womanist, which is her version of feminism. And The Colour Purple is really about this community of black women and how they help each other, and I ended it with a big smile on my face. And then finally, the last book that I finished this month, which was also for uni, was The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, which is another reread for me. I read this one years and years ago when I was a teenager, then I read it in the last year of my undergrad, now I read it again, and every time I read it, it does leave me in a very sad place, but it is a brilliant book. I think what makes it particularly sad is that it's very hard to ignore the context. You know, it's written by Sylvia Plath, who we know ended up killing herself, and so her description of depression in this book feels just even more real, I think, because we know that about her. Okay, so those were the 6 books that I finished this month. Then there was one which I did not finish. It was one of my required uni reads, but I didn't finish it and I'm not going to return to it. It's called Sapphira and the Slave Girl by Willa, Cather, and it's about a white family who own slaves. They start to feel uncomfortable about it and eventually they help one of the slaves escape. But it is so white saviory. The slave girl herself, I mean, she doesn't even have a name in the title, and we don't get her perspective throughout the book. The whole thing is just from the guilt and anxieties of these white people, and it's not even like they are just very aware that slavery is wrong, so they want to help. It's sort of just that they feel uncomfortable, and we're supposed to sort of really empathise with them feeling uncomfortable about it. The father of the family feels weird about the fact that he's attracted to the slave, so he just doesn't want to see her, so that's part of the reason. And I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it, and I'm not going to go back to it. Then I've been working my way through Eating Roses for Dinner by Musa Okwonga, which is a poetry collection. I never read poetry. I find it really hard to understand poetry, but I've been really enjoying these. I first heard of him because J.K. Rowling actually tweeted one of his poems, which was about people who write nasty things in anonymous accounts online, and it was really, really good, so that inspired me to go and buy the book. So I've been trying to train myself with this to read poetry a bit more and understand poetry. I've been putting little post-it notes in with my thoughts, because that sort of helps me articulate some ideas. So I've been really enjoying this one, and it's been sort of helping me learn to appreciate poetry a bit more in a way that I'm not used to. Okay, nearly there. Okay, and then the ones I'm still working on. One of my uni reads was Orange is Not the Only Fruit by Jeanette Winterson, and I didn't manage to finish it in time for the seminar, so I might have to put it on hold for now because I've got more reading to go and do for my essay, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's about a young girl who's brought up in a very evangelical religious household, and I know from reading the back that she is going to end up falling in love with a woman, so interested to see how this is going to fit with her upbringing. And then I have also been reading To Capture What We Cannot Keep by Beatrice, Colin. I'm really only a few pages in, so I don't have much to say. It just seems like it's going to be a sweet love story set in Paris at the time that the Eiffel Tower was being built. So it's historical fiction and romance, which are two things that I never ever read, so maybe this will be a good way to get started. I've made shit progress through this drink. It is actually nice. I think it's just, 11 in the morning is not the right time to be drinking Southern Comfort. But I think I will try making it again another time, because it's actually pretty tasty. That is how you make a Southern Comfort hot toddy, and that was everything that I read during the month of November. And now at last, it is the holidays, and I have a bit more freedom over what I can read. Not that much freedom, because I still have to write essays, and I've got to read the books for those. I forgot what it's like being a student. You don't get to read for fun. So comment below and let me know what you've been reading this month. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, if you want to make some hot toddy, and hit subscribe for new videos every Friday. I will see you next time.